Welcome to World News by Denis Halandzovskyi. If you value calm, clear, and fact-based reporting on global politics, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share your perspective. Today, we explore how Donald Trump referenced the Monroe Doctrine in comments about Venezuela, a doctrine century-old yet still powerful in shaping how the United States views its role in the Western Hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine dates back to the early 19th century. It was originally articulated to warn European powers against establishing new colonies or political influence in the Americas. Over time, it became a central pillar of U.S. foreign policy, interpreted as a principle that the Western Hemisphere should be free from external intervention. In recent public remarks, Donald Trump invoked this doctrine while discussing events in Venezuela. He framed the situation as one where the United States must assert its interest in the region, particularly after a high-profile operation in Caracas and growing instability in nearby countries. Trump argued that the doctrine remains relevant today, not as a call for unrestrained intervention, but as a declaration that foreign powers hostile to U.S. interests should not gain footholds in the Americas. He suggested that strong U.S. presence, influence, and strategic clarity are necessary to prevent destabilizing forces, whether political, criminal, or economic, from shaping outcomes in Latin America. This framing is significant because it echoes a historic tension: the balance between defending regional interests and respecting the sovereignty of neighboring states. While the Monroe Doctrine has been invoked by presidents of different parties over decades, how it is applied, rhetorically or in policy, can signal shifts in diplomatic posture. Trump's comments link the idea of regional dominance with contemporary security challenges. He emphasized that a proactive stance, rooted in historical precedent, could deter rivals from gaining influence near U.S. borders. This idea resonates with parts of American political discourse that prioritize strategic control over near-abroad affairs and sees the Western Hemisphere as a sphere of primary interest. Trump's invocation of the Monroe Doctrine drew reactions from a range of political figures, diplomats, and regional analysts. Supporters argue that reaffirming the doctrine underlines the need for cohesive U.S. strategy in the Americas. They say that rising influence from external powers, whether through economic ties, military cooperation, or soft influence, requires assertive policies to protect stability and democratic norms in the region. From this perspective, the U.S. should not be passive when neighboring states undergo crises or power vacuums. Critics, however, warn that the Monroe Doctrine is outdated and associated with an era of interventionism that undermined the sovereignty of Latin American nations. They caution that using this doctrine to justify contemporary policy risks alienating regional partners who prioritize self-determination and multilateral diplomacy. Many Latin American governments view the doctrine's history as imprinted with intervention and paternalism, not equal partnership. The rhetoric also raises questions about legal and diplomatic norms. Invoking a 19th century policy framework in today's interconnected global order can be polarizing. It highlights a broader debate: whether the United States should lead with forceful strategic signaling or invest more in collaborative institutions that engage deeply with neighboring nations on shared concerns such as security, migration, climate, and economic resilience. International response varied. Some capitals welcomed discussions about stability and order in Venezuela, emphasizing that chaos near the U.S. hemisphere affects all. Others urged caution, underscoring that respect for sovereignty, peaceful negotiation, and regional cooperation are essential to long-term solutions. The broader geopolitical implication is clear: how the United States frames its presence in Latin America matters. Whether through historical doctrine or modern diplomacy, the language used by influential leaders can shape perceptions, alliances, and policy decisions that reach far beyond immediate crises. Trump's comments reflect a continuing tension in American foreign policy between strategic assertion and cooperative engagement, and reveal how historic ideas are revived to frame contemporary challenges. Thank you for watching this analysis on World News by Denis Halandzovskyi. If you found this explanation informative, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share your perspective. Independent reporting helps us understand not only events themselves, but how they are framed and interpreted across the world. Stay informed and see you in the next update.